Hello. Highwood this week celebrates the holiest festival in the Christian calendar, Easter. We commemorate it in an hour-long Easter special, which comes from the most sacred places of worship in London. The magnificent Westminster Abbey, where I talk to the Dean of Westminster, Lambeth Palace, where I meet the Archbishop of Canterbury, and of course, St. Paul's. We have just heard this world-famous choir sing an excerpt from the Hallelujah Chorus. You also meet Bernard Cribbins, award-winning actor John Woodvine, June Brown, and hear the glorious voice once again of Felicity Lott. With all this to offer, it's no wonder the program is an hour long. So don't forget Highway Easter Sunday evening. I'll see you then.
Next on Tyne Tees tonight, we go to the studios of ITN for the latest news after the break.
Occasionally, there comes an experience so magical. There is only one thing you can do. Taste it. Nothing has the special magic of the Toblerone taste. Toblerone, taste the magic.
At Barker & Stonehouse, no one's paying any interest in Tetrad leather furniture, despite these price reductions. Nor is there any interest in the traditional good looks of Charnwood. And even at some rather special prices, there's not a jot of interest in our teenage bedroom furniture or stag minstrel furniture. Because at Barker & Stonehouse, there's now 10 months interest-free credit. Barker & Stonehouse, open on Good Friday and Easter Monday.
Ah, Peter, here it is, chez moi.
Bit small, isn't it?
Compact and bijou, Peter, compact and bijou. You bought this. Not absolutely my first choice. The sunken bath clinched it. All those mortgage problems, you know, repayment, mortgage waiver, premium endowment.
Why didn't you go to the Alliance in Leicester? They gave me a mortgage without all this fuss.
When you do find the right place, we can give you the mortgage to go with it. You should get a quick decision with the minimum of fuss.
Of course, the garden's an absolute picture in the summer.
You get a smarter investor at the Alliance in Leicester.
When you put your back into a big, tough job, you gotta have something you can get your teeth into. New McCoy's potato chips, made to McCoy's original recipe. Specially selected potatoes cut into extra thick slices for the biggest, crunchiest home-style chips. That's the real McCoy, with a whole lot more potato taste. The big chip from the big country.
Throughout history, men and women have created meals that reflect their desires and patterns of behavior.
5, 6, 7, 8 minutes in a microwave.
In the late 20th century, Menu Master have taken over this role.
Terrific. I have one already prepared.
To make meals that reflect your lifestyle.
Darling.
And the rest of the news from the city?
Menu Master. Light.
Traditional.
And gourmet meals.
From Birdseye.
The man you created from the way you live today.
Neighbors with a long way to go. B&Q it. Make your garden grow. B&Q it. You can do it when you B&Q it. Power to see it through. B&Q it. Make it good as new. B&Q it. You can do it when you B&Q it. Making bath time fun. B&Q it. You got it in the sun. B&Q it. You can do it when you B&Q it.
Forum 88, Holiday and Leisure Exhibition, Billingham Forum, 1st and 2nd of April. Swimming, fashion shows, live entertainment, model railways. Free at Forum 88.
You're watching Tyne Tees Television. Now at 10 o'clock, the news from ITN.
The news from ITN. Ruined holidays as strikes leave thousands stranded at Dover. Praise for AIDS victim doctor, selfless and courageous. Israelis kill 2 more and warn of new clampdown. And Ian Botham tells why he won't play cricket abroad. Good evening. More than 5,000 Easter holidaymakers face a night in their cars and coaches as they wait for a ferry out of Dover. Some families have been waiting all day to leave for their weekend away. Tonight, hundreds of angry travellers are resigning themselves to ruined holidays. The disruption has been caused by a French seamen's strike and the dispute between P&O and the National Union of Seamen at Dover. This afternoon, talks aimed at settling that dispute broke down without agreement. The union's Dover members will vote on Sunday about continuing the strike.
The delays at Dover have been growing all day. 100 or so coaches here are having to wait a minimum of 24 hours, and up to 300 families have been facing 12-hour delays. The lorries arriving alongside now have no chance of sailing before Easter. The major problems because of the French seamen's strike are on the Sea-Link Calais services.
We're not now going to get away until 12:30 tonight. And it's just ridiculous, the lack of information these people seem to have got. I'm absolutely appalled by it. I think Sea-Link want to get their act together and tell people what's going on.
During the day, many were determined not to let the problems delay the start of their holiday. But tonight, some school children are facing a second night on the quayside. Where are you bound for?
Austria.
How many children?
41.
What are you going to do with them?
No idea. No idea. We take them to the town and then we bring them back later on.
So you're going to sleep in the car park tonight?
Yes, again. Yeah, we slept in the bus last night as well. It's the second night tonight.
Those returning to Britain were also angry at the delays.
It's disgusting. We've been 12 hours on a coach waiting to come over. 12 hours we've got on a coach all the time. And we've changed 3 coaches.
Those arriving at Dover tonight may not leave the port until late tomorrow or even the next day. And there's little sign that things will ease up tomorrow. Once again, all the ferries are fully booked. Jo Andrews, ITN, Dover.
10 people have been killed in 2 holiday road crashes. 5 died at Fulton in Cumbria as hundreds of drivers left the Lake District National Park. And 5 more were killed on the Glenshane Pass in County Londonderry. 3 people were also injured when 2 cars apparently collided with a tractor. Doctors at the hospital where a young surgeon died from AIDS say people in their profession are at great risk of catching the disease from their patients. A consultant said that all patients should be routinely screened for the virus. Dr. David Collins is thought to have contracted the disease when he worked in Zimbabwe.
In Exeter today, health officials manned hotlines to tell Dr. Collins' patients that they're not at risk from AIDS. In an exercise of reassurance, letters were sent this afternoon to the patients' GPs, who'll offer them counselling and, if necessary, a blood test. Dr. Collins operated on more than 250 people during his time in Exeter.
And despite all the incidents of AIDS in Africa and North America, no known case anywhere in the world of a health worker or a doctor transferring the infection to patients.
Dr. Collins, married with a baby son, trained in Edinburgh, and from what was called a sense of duty, chose to work in Zimbabwe. It was there he contracted the disease from a patient. His parish priest said he accepted his impending death. He didn't ask, why me? He was a dedicated, sacrificial doctor. A fellow surgeon, Bruce Campbell, said he just shrugged his shoulders and said, that's one of the risks of doing surgery in Africa. He added he was driven by a sense of duty and compassion. Mr. Campbell continued, the first feelings were of distress for his family, but then there was a dreadful feeling that next time it could be us. If there's no routine screening for AIDS, then doctors should know if they contract the disease, there'll be provision for their families.
Even if we do test everyone routinely, surgeons will still have to treat everyone, regardless of whether they test positive or negative, as possibly infected. What does that mean? It means wearing 2 pairs of gloves. It means wearing eye goggles to prevent blood from splashing into the eyes. It means protecting the face from splashes of blood. It means being very careful during the operation. It means instead of sewing towards you, it means sewing away, which is technically more difficult. It means that operations take longer. Example, A routine ENT, ear, nose and throat operation, which should normally have taken 20 minutes of NHS theatre time, took 2.5 hours because they decided to follow all the precautions in case he was infected.
All that's too late for Dr. Collins, a man who had no idea he had AIDS until days before he died.
The Israeli government tonight warned Palestinian protesters that if rioting continues, it'll reimpose the security clampdown that was lifted today. The announcement came as 2 more Palestinians were shot dead by Israeli troops in the occupied West Bank. The army says the soldiers were under attack from petrol bombs.
With the reopening of towns like Ramallah on the West Bank, the Palestinian demonstrations continued for all to see. And within hours of the security clampdown lifting, more Palestinian deaths were reported during violent clashes with the soldiers. The protest began after weekly Muslim prayers. The latest instructions from the underground Palestinian leadership, meanwhile, call for more strikes and demonstrations during next week's peace shuttle by the American Secretary of State. The Israelis believe the tactic of a territories-wide closure has proved itself, and the authorities are ready to reintroduce another total shutdown if Palestinian militancy rises above acceptable levels. The relaxing of military orders opened up more potential trouble spots to the world's press. But the army used its extensive powers to seal off some areas and to force camera teams away from places where tensions were running high. Jerusalem's ancient religious quarters were under tight security for one of the busiest days in the religious calendar. But many stayed away.